Books 1 and 2 of the Iliad establish the conflict and the theme that will unite the rest of the poem. But in Book 3, Homer zooms out to remind his audience about a bigger picture, the story of Helen and Menelaus and Paris, and the conflict that escalated into this 10-year-long war. We don't exactly get a flashback to the beginning of the war, but we learn a lot about how it began from what the characters say. Pay attention, as you read, to the story that the Trojan Antenor tells about Menelaus and Odysseus. Then notice who Hector describes as the man who started this whole conflict. First, we're introduced to Paris. He's also called Alexander, the Trojan prince who took Helen from her home and her husband and brought her to Troy. We learn a lot about Paris from what he says, but we learn even more from what others say about him. That's kind of how Kleos works. Notice what his brother Hector says about him. Notice how the Trojans feel about him. And most importantly, notice how Helen feels about him. Then we meet Menelaus, the king of Lacedaemon. About a century after Homer's time, it'll become known as Sparta. Menelaus is the brother of the Greek commander-in-chief Agamemnon. They're both the sons of Atreus, and so they're called the Atrides. Most importantly, he's Helen's first husband. You can't help but compare these two. Notice what motivates them, the extent to which they take responsibility for their roles in the war, the commitment that they show to their comrades and their families, and of course their courage, or lack of it. When we first meet Helen, she's weaving a tapestry that portrays the story of the war that's being fought right now outside and over her. This isn't a vanity project. So how does she see herself as the person at the center of this war? What do the Trojans have to say about her? Did she choose to come here with Paris? We only get clues. She mentions only one choice that she regrets, but was that the only choice that was available to her? Does she want to stay in Troy with Paris now? And if not, is there anything she can do about it? Does she have the personal agency to act according to her own decisions? For that matter, does Priam, the king of Troy? Why doesn't he just give her back? Is he too just a prize to be protected or taken? It seems that all either of them can do is watch the action on the battlefield down below. We can't really understand their situation until we start to deal with Aphrodite. We superficially remember her as the goddess of love. Homer gives her the epithet, the goddess who loves smiles. But just because someone wants to see you smile doesn't mean they have your best interest in mind. Well, at least Menelaus and Paris are exerting some personal agency, right? A duel, one-on-one. The winner gets Helen. Let the kings fight their own fight. Each one is willing to risk his life to spare everyone else from this war. That's taking personal responsibility. The Greeks like the idea. The Trojans love it. One way or the other, the war is over, right? Well, if Book 3 establishes anything, is that there are other forces at work, and the war is not going to be over anytime soon.